Hello, hello, good evening. All right, estamos ao vivo. Hoje faremos uma aula do Standout, que é o meu curso digital, Secrets to Unlock Your Speaking Skill. E a transmissão está sendo também no YouTube, para que os alunos conheçam um pouquinho, né, por dentro do Standout. Ok? É uma sessão de mentoria. Eu vou falar sobre gramática e será um prazer compartilhar o conteúdo aqui com vocês hoje. Okay, so I'll speak English, all right? The lesson will be in English, and here we have lots of things to learn on how to study grammar. Okay, so let's start that. And today I'm going to be talking about how to make grammar meaningful. Como fazer com que a gramática se torne significativa, all right? To make grammar meaningful. So let's see. The students generally ask me, how can I study grammar effectively? Okay, so is there any secret, teacher, to study grammar and make it meaningful? Yes, there is, and I'll tell you today. Okay, so grammar it's the part that is generally neglected by most students, right? And the students say, oh, but grammar is boring. Remember that we need to find a balance in the study of grammar because just learning rules and not applying them is useless. So today I'm going to show you some strategies on how to study the grammar. All right. And not to mention that grammar is one of the pillars of fluency. We need the grammar to become fluent. But how? What is the secret? Okay. Well, just to put in a nutshell here, let me share with you this slide. Thinking about grammar, we have 12 verb tenses, only 12 verb tenses in the English language. So English is not that difficult, okay? If you think about verb tenses, que são as conjugações, okay? In English we have past, present, future. And then in these three tenses, we have simple, the simple form, continuous form, the perfect form, and the perfect continuous. That's it. Besides these 12 verb tenses, we have the modal verbs. Okay, the modal verbs are those verbs that we use for possibility, ability, permission, necessity. Okay, when we use can, may, shall, should, right? Are you with me? But how do we study all this? How do we put this into practice? How do we make this meaningful? I will tell you. Point one, the study of grammar needs to be contextualized. Okay, so you have to find the grammar in the context. There's no point in studying the rules if you don't understand how to apply them and in which situations to use them. So grammar has to make sense. Okay, this is what I tell to my students. This is what I always focus. Okay, we have to make grammar meaningful. It has to make sense. Not only memorizing the rules, memorizing the tables of grammar, it has to be meaningful. And we need to find the context. Okay, I'm going to show you how to do it. You really don't need to spend so much energy on more complex and advanced structures if your focus is on maintaining an everyday conversation with people. Okay, so if you just need to communicate, if you just need to understand people when you travel or for working, okay, you don't have to put a lot of energy learning all the advanced structures. But keep in mind, I have students that they need, the academic English. They need a more formal business English for conferences, congress. Then it's different. You're going to have to use advanced structures. But if you're talking about, I need to use English to travel, to communicate with friends, okay, to understand films, series, to have independence and autonomy, you don't need to know all the advanced structures. Okay. And remember, kids, when they learn how to speak, They learn the language without studying the grammar. This happens in any language, right? So we learn, we communicate, we speak, but we don't know the reasons behind the sentences, right? So I like to follow this logic, okay? Let's go on here. When you talk about the grammar, we have normative grammar, the grammars that we find in the books, the grammar that the students say, oh, but this is boring. And then we have real life grammar, okay, for communication purpose. And this is the one that we should focus. If you have this, if your mindset is to travel, is to communicate, like a general communication, let's focus on the real life grammar, okay, for a general communication, a general and efficient communication, okay? So I have this strategy here that I would like to share with you. To consolidate grammar, we need to go through the cycle of input and output, okay, which works like this. I'm going to show you how it happens. But teacher, what is input? Input is the English that we receive, that we listen, that we see. Okay, this is the input. English that we are like learning, listening, taking in all this information, we call the input. The output, on the other hand, is that English that we speak, okay, that we write. This is the output. Imagine that in what comes inside when you're listening, when you're reading, in the output when you are speaking and when you are writing, producing your ideas in a written form. Okay, so to make grammar solid, to consolidate grammar, we need to go through this cycle. And have a look at this, how interesting. First, we have the ignorance phase. We don't know that grammar, right? We see that and say, no idea of that grammar. Then you have the exposure. You start seeing that grammar, okay? You're exposed to those situations and you say, oh, this grammar, let's think about the grammar. Have you ever, okay, the present perfect that people are so afraid. So ignorance, you don't know how to use have you ever. Oh, have you ever eaten Japanese food? Have you ever been to Japan? Have you ever ridden a motorcycle? Okay, so imagine that ignorance, you never heard that grammar. Suddenly you hear that, but you don't know how to use this grammar. Then you start noticing. Okay, you say, oh, okay, have you ever again? I hear that in a film, in a series. Oh, all right, so have you ever? Okay, then you start understanding the grammar. So I use have you ever when we talk about experiencing, right? When we are experiencing something. Have you ever gives the idea of você já? So have you ever been to Tokyo? Você já esteve em Tóquio? Have you ever eaten Thai food? Você já comeu comida tailandesa? Then you start understanding how it happens, right? Then you can practice. After you understand, you notice, after you are exposed to that grammar, you have to practice. You have to learn how to use it. All right? So you practice this grammar. Immediately after that, you're gonna activate this grammar. So you're gonna have the active use of the grammar. So whenever we study grammar and we just read and we do exercises, but we don't think about it in a practical way, we don't learn and we don't use it. Sometimes I have students that say, oh, I would love to use this grammar, So put it into practice. Make it active. How can you use this grammar? Okay. How can you use in your context? How can you use in real life? All right. So you have to make this active, not only passive, where you do exercises, where you write down, make it active. This is the secret. Okay. So you're gonna go through the cycle of input to the output. And this is exactly where magic happens. Okay. This is where magic happens. So, in order for grammar study to be meaningful and for you to get to active use, as I was mentioning, you need to think about grammar and the grammar topics in a three-dimensional way. I like to call it 3D grammar. So think about it, 3D grammar, okay? Or the grammar triad. What is this, teacher? What is the grammar triad? Well, think about the grammar in three ways, three perspectives. Look, structure, meaning, and then usage. What is the structure of this grammar that you want to use? What is the meaning? What is the usage? So think about grammar in a 3D way. Okay, this is the grammar triad. And I'm going to show you how. Look. Think about structure, okay? It refers to how to build a sentence. For example, in present continuous, using the verb to be as auxiliary verb, okay, and the main verb of action in the gerund with ing. Let's make it easier. Think about the example. Think about the sentence. He is studying. She is downloading the lessons. Okay? So you think about the structure, how you're going to use that grammar structure. You have to observe the structure. Okay? So you have to notice. All right? Remember the lesson before here, the slides before. You are exposed, you notice, then you start understanding, you practice, okay, to make it active. All right? Let's see. Then you check the meaning. So the meaning is about the message that structure conveys, okay? It is totally linked to the use of the structure, all right? Totally linked to the use of the structure, all right? For example, when I use present continuous, I show that the action is happening now, and this is the message I want to convey with this, okay? All right? So think about the meaning and what it means to you, how you're going to use that grammar. All right? So present continuous to show that the action is happening. Okay? So you have that in mind. Here I'm illustrating with the present continuous. Okay? How about usage? Refers to the applicability of the form. In what situations is this form used? So, when can I use this? What are the situations that I use this grammar? Is it formal or informal? Okay, let's see the example. Present continuous is used to describe a situation that is happening now. So you know how to use that grammar, but also to talk about a very near future. So here we have two uses for the same, two usages for the same grammar. Okay, so I am teaching now, but imagine that I can use this present continuous to talk about a near future. I'm traveling this weekend. It doesn't mean that I'm traveling now, but this is a near future that is nearly happening. Okay, I'm traveling this weekend. Another example, I'm having lunch with a friend tomorrow. I'm having lunch. So this is another use of the present continuous for the future. Okay, so it's very important when you understand the grammar in a 3D way, you think about how to use, how to apply the grammar. And this is the secret. Not only memorizing the rules, but applying. Okay? And I'll go further here. Look, studying grammar is not about memorizing rules. It's about understanding the applicability of the rules to bring sense and meaning to the ideas, to your ideas in real life situations. So, this is what we want. We want to use the proper grammar. We want to communicate. We want to be understood. But we want this to happen in real life, not only like studying the grammar in the books, right? Okay, does it make sense? All right. So that's why I like to focus on a grammar, on the grammar as a grammar triad. Okay. What is the meaning? What is the structure? And then putting it into practice. This is the secret. Okay. Now, teacher, how can I study real life grammar? I'll show you a very nice website. Okay, this is listeninenglish.com. And on this website, besides practicing the listening, okay, you can practice the listening, you can watch your favorite series, films, okay, so you can study grammar in a very nice way, in a very relaxed way. It doesn't seem like you are studying, okay, it feels like you are just having fun. Okay, so write this down, listeninenglish.com. And here I took just a screenshot to show you how it is. Okay, listen in English. There you choose the series or the film that you like, something of your interest. There are many programs available, many TV shows, okay? And inside each episode, which is very short, you can check the vocabulary, you can have questions about that episode, you have the grammar, and here where I talk about real life grammar because you see how grammar is happening in that context. So this is exactly contextualized grammar. Okay, sentence building, and then what is like, how can you use these structures? You can listen and repeat. So here you can study the grammar in real life, in a context, okay, contextualized grammar. And this is really meaningful. Not only opening the book, studying that grammar that doesn't make sense, that you cannot use. Okay, so if you try using the grammar like this, I'm sure you're going to learn, and I'm sure it's going to be fun. Okay, you're going to change your mind about studying grammar. Okay, so this is the website, listeninenglish.com. Okay, and look, here, there's a screenshot. Let me see if I can make it bigger, like this. Like this, so I can show it. Yes, look, grammar in this part is about prepositions. Okay, so here you have prepositions, and then how to use prepositions. This is a very nice episode because here you have job interviews, and the film is The Intern. You know, the film in Portuguese is O Estagiário, okay, The Intern in English, and it's really cool. Okay, so here the grammar in context is about a job interview. So, what are the prepositions that are used in a job interview? So, you see, we have these links: watching, listening, repeating, checking the vocabulary, and studying the grammar. Isn't it great? Okay, what else do we need? Right? I just love studying the grammar like this. Okay, I'm sure you're going to have fun too. And look, when we think about grammar, grammar is not everything. Okay, sometimes on my career, you know, I have a long experience teaching, more than 15 years. And then the students sometimes they come to me and they say, teacher, I would like to study the grammar. Only study the grammar. But grammar is not everything. Look, when you think about the English language, what are the aspects, what are the pillars here to fluency? You have the pronunciation, that is really important. Listening, you have to learn how to listen. Okay, so this is like the input. Sometimes first we listen and then we learn how to say the words. So pronunciation is listening, and listening, they're truly linked. Okay, but you're just going to learn how to pronounce after you learn how to listen. So it's linked. All right, it's strongly linked. So pronunciation is one pillar, listening is another. Speaking, of course, we all want to speak the language, right? Speaking is essential. This is the aim of the communication. We want to communicate by speaking. We don't want to write everything, right? Although we communicate by texts nowadays, right? Reading is another area. We need to read to understand the language, right? Sometimes we have to read instructions. Vocabulary is very important. How can you communicate if you don't have vocabulary, solid vocabulary, a good basis of English? Writing is important too. So, reading and writing. reading information, writing messages, writing emails, and then the grammar. So you see, grammar is 1/7 of the whole package here. When you talk about learning the language, when you talk about when you consider speaking English, right? Does it make sense? Is that all right? Good, good. Okay, okie dokie. And look, relevant material, as I just showed you, it's essential, okay? If you want to have an intentional grammar study, if you want to study grammar intentionally, it's very important that you know how to choose relevant material, okay? And then on this grammar study, as I showed you here on this website, a few minutes ago, how can you study grammar? Look, intentional grammar study. You're going to read and check the vocabulary. Okay, you can read and listen. So you're activating a lot of pillars here, a lot of stimuli. Okay, you're going to check collocations. What are collocations, teacher? Collocations are combinations of words. Okay, oh, so these are collocations in English. Yes, we generally say, I'm going to get some fast food. We don't say quick food, although they mean the same. So it's just how the language collocates, right? They are called collocations. Okay, we don't say strong rain, but we say heavy rain. This is another collocation. Okay, how the words are combined together. And when we study the grammar, when we read, when we listen, when we learn vocabulary, collocations will be there. We just have to notice them. We have to explore. We have to observe. And then by learning, putting into practice. Okay? Grammar in context. So that's why when you have this intentional grammar study, you're going to have grammar in context. It's going to make sense. Okay? Besides that, you're going to have vocabulary and pronunciation. And the last step here that I generally suggest, writing sentences. It's very important to write, to memorize the grammar. When you write and when you speak out loud, you're going to help your brain to remember the information. You're sending a message. Oh, I have to remember this. It's important information. So you write, you create example sentences using the grammar that you're learning, using the vocabulary that you're learning. Write example sentences. Think about your life. Think about your context and build sentences that make sense to you. Okay, this is the way of building, and then making grammar meaningful. It's going to be solid. It's going to make sense. All right? Write sentences. Write the vocabulary. Use the words. Write down the grammar that you're observing. Oh, I'm watching a series and then I saw these expressions. I saw this part of the grammar. Write it down. Create examples. Write sentences. I'm sure it's going to be meaningful. Okay, I have no doubt. All right? Good. And then I'm going to give you some suggestions here. Okay. Essential grammar in use. If you want to have books of grammar to check how grammar occurs, okay, I want to have a book so I can have something to complement. Yes, it's great. Essential Grammar in Use. It's a great book. I have the whole collection. Okay, Murphy. Murphy's an excellent grammarian. Grammar in Use Intermediate. It's again Raymond Murphy. And the third one, Grammar, Vocabulary, and Vocabulary for Advanced Levels. Okay, so you have like elementary, intermediate, and advanced, all levels. We always need to have the basis of the grammar, right? We have to study the grammar, but it can be fun. It can be contextualized, okay? Keep this in mind. All right. And here, I also brought some suggestions of online grammar because I know today it's much easier when we are studying online, we open links, we save pages, we make screenshots, right? So I brought some suggestions. We have here Grammarly.go to cloud.org. Grammarly is a very nice extension that you have to download in your Chrome, in your Google Chrome. And it's fantastic because when you're writing emails, when you're writing a document, Grammarly will help you, will instantly correct your grammar mistakes. Okay, so if you don't have it yet, I highly recommend it. It's free. Okay, you can pay the pro version, but the free version is very nice, can help a lot. So Grammarly dot here's the address. Okay, just if you just Google Grammarly, you're gonna find it. It's very nice. Okay, you should have it on your extension. Okay, and then I suggested here 3 websites: Perfect English Grammar, Grammar Monsters, and usingenglish.com. All right, so all these three websites here, you have loads of contents to study the grammar in context. Okay, you can find pieces of grammar, things that material that you can make grammar really relevant in your studies. Okay, so this is what I would like to show you this evening. It's just like a short lesson about how to study grammar. Okay, I will leave here some suggestions, books, websites, and remember what is intentional here. What you have to keep in mind is the 3D grammar. This is the grammar approach that we should keep in mind and put into practice. Okay, and here I brought a quote. All right, before we finish, I love this quote from Nelson Mandela, and he says, "If you talk to a man in a language he understands, that goes to his head. If you talk to him in his own language, that goes to his heart." Right? So it's nice because when we learn English, there's so many people speaking English on the globe that it goes to the heart. We can communicate, we can connect, and it's really meaningful, right? Okay. So on this module here, as I told you at the beginning of the session, this is module 6 from Stand Out, okay, my digital course. And I'm talking a little bit in this session here, in this short lesson here, about the 3D grammar, okay, the approach to grammar. But on module 3, the students could adjective order, okay, the difference between action verbs and stative verbs, how to use prepositions of place and time, okay, and the difference here between present perfect and simple past. So all this part of the grammar is included in module 6. Okay, this was in module 6. All right, so I covered here the 3D grammar approach that can help you a lot when you are studying the grammar, if you think on this approach. Okay, but the course is very complete. In there, only on module 6, I talk about all these topics. So it's really meaningful, especially this module. Okay, and as I told you, Stand Out is my digital course. Okay, so here the name is Stand Out, and how to stand out in the crowd. Okay, in my digital course, I show you secrets to unlock your speaking skill. Okay, inside the course, we learn how to improve prosody to get what you want, how to improve pronunciation, okay, to be heard, how to improve confidence to be free, right? We want to be independent. We want to be autonomous, right? When we are speaking the language. I also teach you how to improve vocabulary to express yourself and how to improve grammar to deliver your message. All this, okay, is inside Stand Out. So it's my pleasure to have the students there. And today I'm showing a little bit of what is inside. okay? On this course, okay, this course is going to be your map to stand out in the crowd. And remember, when you say stand out, this means se destacar no meio da multidão, ok? Como você pode se destacar com o seu inglês? Quais são as estratégias que você aprenderá aqui para usar o inglês de uma maneira eficiente, eficaz e se destacar na sua comunicação com o inglês. Por isso que eu falo que são os secrets to unlock your speaking skill. Okay, so thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for being here. I will record this session. Okay, it will be available on my YouTube channel as well. If you don't follow me yet, follow me on Instagram. Okay, my profile is British Studio, and in here on YouTube, you just have to subscribe. All right. So thank you very much, and I'll see you in the next class, in our next video. All right. Thank you. Cheers.